Hi, folks. I'm Mike, and I hope you're well. And welcome to another edition of Creative Studio Live, where we debate all kinds of things musical and recording. And I'm joined, as ever, by my co-host and partner in crime, Mr. Pete Johns. Pete Johns, what have you been up to this week?
Apart from having the audio playing in the background while we're trying to live stream, not much, Mike. I'm an absolute professional at this stuff. No, it's been a busy week. I've been doing a lot in the GarageBand realm. Been looking at some amp sims, the Stark amp sim by Cleve Grind, which I've played some bass with. That was fun. Looked at automating volume in GarageBand, my DAW of choice, and even looked at how you can capture song ideas using just your iPhone. So yeah, we've had an eclectic bunch of videos over on Studio Live today this week. But what has been happening in the world of Creative Source over there? I hear you got a new desk in the works. You got all sorts of things going on over there.
I continue to pretend to be a handyman, which I'm really not. So, it's taken me 3 weeks so far to build this desk, and it's only half done. There's a lot more to building a studio desk than meets the eye. But apart from that, I did make a sort of tutorial video on Cakewalk by BandLab again. And it's really about how to get going. So if you're just kind of thinking about getting into home recording and testing out some DAWs, and that might be a good video to start off with. But we must move on to our actual debate. Now, I've seen this discussed here and there around the internet, this topic of artificial intelligence music. Now, I will say we're specifically talking about composition here, not so much about playing, because I think we kind of know that computers can play music.
Yeah.
But this is about can computers create, can actually compose music? So for the viewers at home, what happens here is myself and Pete will be debating this, but neither of us know which side we're going to be debating on as of yet. And that's going to be decided with an Australian 20-cent piece flip.
Ooh, the 20-cent piece.
Yeah, if I can flip this, I'm going to drop it one day. But Pete, I'm going to flip this and I'm going to let you call it. So here we go.
Give me a tail.
A tail? I'll tell you what you've got here, though. It's a head.
It's a head.
Yes, there's Queen Lizzie herself there. So I think it's the first time that it's gone my way.
First time you've won anything on this show, Mike. I don't think
it's true. It's true. But I'm doing the scoring tonight, so I think I could win a couple of things. So I'm going to choose. I'm going to go against artificially intelligent music being good. And I will note that not can AI write music, but will it be good music is the question up for debate. So
damn it. Okay, I'm changing all my points, but yeah.
Yes. Well, it adds a qualitative rather than quantitative element to the question. So so that should help you in your difficult task of debating.
It is going to be a difficult task. Yeah.
It is going to be a tricky task. So round one, I'm going to say, Pete Johns, you can start off with round one. What is the first point you'd like to make about this?
So what is my first point? Well, AI music. So I actually asked my audience about this as well, and I'm not going to steal any of their ideas for my first point because you know that I like to cheat in these debates. So I'm going to save my cheating for probably points 4 and 5 when I've run out of ideas. But so Mike, I believe you make YouTube videos.
I'm one or two.
Well, I do too. And one of the challenges, so you and I are lucky. We can create our own original musical compositions, right? We can sit down and we can grab a MIDI piano. We can throw some virtual instruments on there. We can add some drums. And very quickly, we've got some background music for our videos. But you know what? There are millions of YouTube creators out there that don't have that luxury. And I don't know if you've ever explored the YouTube audio library, the music library that we have there.
I have. I use it.
It's good, but it's a little limited. Like I don't know if my children watch the unboxing videos and they use the same music on every unboxing video that you'll ever see. So for me,
just to interject, I use the same 2 tracks on every single video. I can't find anything better than the 2 that.
And you're a musician, Mike. The shame. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. Mike's laziness will be the topic of next week's show. The beauty part though is that like AI music, like when you can just log on and you can start saying, "Hey, I want some music that's got a happy vibe in a major key and has some strings and keys," and then you press a button and you've instantly got something that's going to be different, that's going to make you stand out, that's going to be unique to your own self and your own channel, and you can put that behind your videos and you can be happy with that. So that is my first point, is that in this world of YouTube and this world of videos, I think that AI music will be creating all of the background music of every YouTube video within a year. That's my prediction.
Okay, so this is not a prediction show. This is a debate show. Okay, so I'm going to give you minus 500 points there for that, Pete Johns.
I think we hand the scoring over to Ricky. He's in the chat here. Rick Brown, please, you will now score.
Okay, Ricky, you can score, but you got to agree with me that was just garbage. But anyway, so a fair point. We know that AI music will be a thing, and that's for sure. So what I'd like to talk about is a thing that someone will come across called AIVA, AIVA. Now, I have to admit, and I don't want to concede anything here, but I've had a listen to AIVA, and I was a bit shocked. I was like, wow, is that really written by artificial intelligence, in the sense of it sounded convincing, and I believe an orchestra was playing a pre-composed bit. But after 5 minutes or so of listening to it, I realized it was very, very correct, but sort of formless. You know, it's kind of like listening to a melody which sort of goes da ba 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 da da do. That's actually better than able to, just formless, just sort of went on and on and on, and there wasn't much space in it, and stuff like that. So it's my first. It's a quick point, which is bloody unusual for me, actually.
Where's the rest of your point?
I'm saving my other points until a bit later, but I'm saying, here's just Ricky's scoring here. So Rick, my main point is it's musically correct, yes, but formless, just formless, dry and bland. That's my point.
That's your point. Okay,
that's my point.
You're sticking with that one. All right. Well, it's an interesting point.
Back over to you.
Back over to me.
At least I made a point.
Well, I'm glad. And welcome to those that are here on the live stream as well. If you're watching on the replay, though, yes, please leave your comments as well, and you can leave your own score, which will be in my favor, I'm sure. No problem. But yes, my second point, and I did this a couple of weeks ago. I used children because, and I think I got 1 million points for it because it's easy. Like once you start bringing children in, you can't give me negative points. But so it's actually me cheating. So I am cheating already. Point number 2. So what can AI do? Well, it can actually teach you about song structure. If you're a kiddie, if you've got children and you want to learn about how to compose and how to create songs and what works well together, the good thing is that AIVA and these other AI music composition tools, they use a lot of the historical works. So I heard a song that was produced by AI that grabbed all of the songs of the Beatles, and then it composed a Beatles-like song. And it used the same sort of song structures, had the same Lennon McCartney vibe that we all love, but it was an original piece. And for me, I think that learning about melody, harmony, chord structures, song composition, all of that is going to really help the children. And let's be honest, the children aren't interested unless something can happen automatically because, I was going to say they're lazy. No, that's not true. But they want things to be automatic. They want things to be computerized. They don't want to mess around. Like, what child is going to sit down at a sequencer and program in every single note of everything, or get a piece of get a staff and write on the treble clef and the bass clef and actually compose that way? No, they want a head start. They want to be able to have something. So AI composition gives our kids a head start to then create the best music that they ever can.
Okay, so, well, I've got not much of a comment on that. I mean, Ricky, please. Maybe he's got me on minus 500 anyway. Look, okay, rubbish second point there, Pete. But what I want to move on to, I'm glad you mentioned the Beatles in your point, because I knew the Beatles had to come up because, you know, whether you like the Beatles or not, it's hard to deny their composition skills, really. Now, here's the thing. I was watching a really interesting video. I can't say who it was by because I can't remember, but it was one of those musical breakdowns, and it was of a Beatles song called Something. Do you know that song, Something?
Yeah,
I don't want to sing it because the copyright strike and all that, but well, I've got to say, one of my favorite Beatles songs, I think it's anyway. They were doing a breakdown of it, and here's the thing: is that it broke some rules in music, and well, we talked about this on last week's show a little bit about musical theory and the fact that it shouldn't really prescribe what you're doing. It should describe what you're doing. And even within musical theory, most of the things that we do are unusual can be described. But in a couple of videos I watched about this Beatles song, Something, there was a certain particular chord in there, and they said, there's just no way to explain this in musical theory. It's just out there. It breaks any rule we've got, and yet it sounds so natural and so beautiful. And here's the thing: I contend that AI is not going to be able to do that, because that's a moment of inspiration from, I think it was written by George Harrison, that particular song, which I don't think a computer's going to be able to do that. So that's point number 2 from me.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. The point you're missing there is that George Harrison is actually a robot, a time traveling robot.
I thought you were going to say he's dead, which I thought was relevant.
I mean, yeah, well, he can never die because he's a robot. But no, he was sent back in time to keep the Beatles together, because he was the star of it. Anyway, we'll talk about that another day.
Please, Ricky, I hope you're taking points away for this garbage here. Go on then.
I've got a question for you, Mike.
No.
So have you ever used a drum machine or a beat sequencer or a step sequencer? You ever used any of these devices in any of your music creation?
Yes, but I got, before you get on that, I never ever use any of the preset beats. And I always make my own beats. It's just a thing of mine. So you might want to ask someone else that question.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, the most popular drum machine is probably the Roland TR-808. I think
TR-808, yeah,
pretty much undisputed. And what the 808 did is it brought a whole lot of preset rhythms. There are Beastie Boys tracks. There are 80s hip hop funk tracks of all types that have used an AI beat sequence already. So AI, in some form, artificial intelligence, has been around for a very long time, and it's been around since the 80s, been around in the 90s, been around in the noughties, and it's still around now. So anyone who has ever grabbed any sort of electronic, randomized that function. How cool is that when you get a step sequencer and you hit the randomize button? You get a cool sound. You get something that's different, something that's unique. So I would argue that we've been using artificial intelligence already, and this is just the next step, that we can actually take it and we can create something unique and different. And you're already using it every time you slap a virtual drummer track on any of your songs. You're actually using that. The intelligence is already there. You're just the dumb end of the artificial intelligence.
So. Okay, well, your point is not too bad. I will draw you back to the question, though: is can AI write good music? It's not can it write music. My goodness, Ricky T. Brown, I hope you're taking note of the garbage we're getting here from Adelaide, Australia tonight.
I'm jet lagged. I've flown all the way from Melbourne to Adelaide about an hour ago, so I'm claiming jet lag as my reason if I lose tonight.
What's going on with the shirt tonight, Pete?
Checks are back in. Luckily, I bought this shirt 10 years ago when checks were in, and they're coming back in. So I'm actually fashionable accidentally. So that's what's going on with the shirt.
So it looks good on you. It looks good on you. It almost matches your sofa, your renowned sofa.
I know, my sofa, which is actually covered in the black sheet, which
Yeah.
has the dog on it tonight. So yes, a little bit.
I'm glad we get to see the treadmill again tonight, though.
I know. Yeah, a lot of folks don't actually know that that's a treadmill, because they're like, why is there a floating black blanket in your background? I'm like, because I'm a real person and this is a real channel where we're doing real music. All right. What is your third point?
Okay, so let's take a look at some elements of music. We have melody, and most of the music works within certain frameworks in Western music. And we can create fairly predictable melodies from that. We have harmony, and Western music has developed some fashions in harmony, and we have rhythm, and again, Western music has developed certain patterns, which are common. So AI can use all of these things to create artificially intelligent music. However, there's an element to music which cannot be quantified in that way, and this is human experience. A massive part of what makes music resonate with us is the background to it, the fact that the guy has a relationship breakup or fell in love in the first place, and has some life experience, and that is the missing link. That's why artificial intelligent music will never really quite make the grade. So that is what I contend is that that is always going to be the issue for artificially intelligent music, the lack of life experience.
So you're saying robots don't have life experience? Robots don't feel human emotion?
I am saying
that. You are saying that? You didn't watch the show Westworld? Those robots had some
that was fictitious. My goodness me, you're grasping at straws. That was a good show, though. I did enjoy Westworld. Very good show. But no, my goodness. What's going on with the points here, Ricky T. Brown? Minus 256 for that.
Wow. Yeah, there you go. By the way, Liverpool FC, greatest football team in the history of the world. Just throwing that out there for no reason whatsoever before I throw out my fourth point here. So, Mike, let me ask you a few questions here. You love your cup of tea, right? You love having a cup of tea. Do you use an automatic kettle, or do you boil it on the stove every time?
I use an automatic kettle.
So okay, and you've just built yourself a desk. Did you grab the screwdriver and manually hand screw in every single screw in there?
I did. I actually used my teeth to make the holes in it. I just gnawed away at it until
you just kept going. What about your car? You drive a manual transmission car, or is it automatic?
Automatic.
There you go. So what you're saying is that things going from manual to automatic has changed your life, has made things more convenient, has freed up your time and freed up your ability to do more things. So having things that start out as manual, turning them into an automatic process means that you can actually take that to the next level. Now, I've got a quote here. So I didn't just say that to make you to call you out. I did a little bit, but so I've forgotten his name now. But the creator of Ava, his name's Pierre something. He's got a French name which I don't pronounce very well, anyways, and I didn't write it down. So what he said is that AI can create beautiful pieces of music, and humans can bring them to life. So that is what I'm contesting here. So we're not removing the human. What we're doing is that we are empowering the human to create more. Mic drop.
Sorry, I got bored halfway through that point and I wasn't listening to it. But no, look,
I thought that was super eloquent.
Yeah, I still feel like you're grasping. But anyway, I just want to go to some comments. Now we've got a bit of an expert in the comments here. We've got T-Ball Kiss. He's actually got some background in AI. I don't know what his background is, but it's more than we've got.
Well, that's not hard, but yeah, good job.
So he's saying that AI is misused in music because many would like to use it to replace the creator with AI. Instead, it should be solved to solve some problems which currently lacks a perfect solution. I agree with that entirely. And I'd just like to suggest to Rick there, give T-Ball a few points. So,
T-Ball, would you like to be on a show? Would you like to come and debate a topic on a show? You sound more intelligent than Mike and I.
Well, it sounds more intelligent than one of us, anyway. Look, let's move on here. This is my fourth point. Now, such a big part of Western music, contemporary music, is lyrics. And in really good music, the relationship between the lyrics and the music is really important. Certainly in certain bland pop music, there's not much relationship between the lyrics and the music. But with really fine pieces of work, there is that relationship. Now, that is the one thing. If we're going to create music with AI, who's going to write the lyrics? Well, we can say a human can write the lyrics, the AI can write the music, but then they're not really connected, are they? There's sort of a random amount. Now, people have thought of this, of course. I mean, I know I'm smart, but there's other people smart like me, and they've thought of this. So the researchers at the University of Toronto
Oh my God.
created an artificially intelligent system to create a song after analyzing an image. So you can say it was being inspired to write lyrics, and it wrote the music as well. So it was shown a picture of a Christmas tree, and it wrote the lyrics for a new Christmas song. And I just want to read them out to you here. Just a few lines.
Okay.
Lots to decorate the room. The Christmas tree is filled with flowers. I swear it's Christmas Eve. I hope that's what you say. The best Christmas present in the world is a blessing. I've always been there for the rest of our lives. 100.5 hours ago, I'm glad to meet you. I can say, look, I don't want to go any further than this, but honestly, there's a link in the description about this debate, and it's got a link to this actual piece of music that it put with the lyrics. And my God, it is so terrible. It's really, really bad. So, if this is the best minds in the world at the University of Toronto, a renowned university,
Oh, mate.
has got.
That's a good point. But in the words of Anthony Kiedis, ning nang nong nong ning nang nong nong ning nang. That's all I have to say about that.
I'm not saying that humans can't write rubbish lyrics as well. Human beings are perfectly capable to write rubbish lyrics. I was watching a video the other day about repetitive lyrics.
You're watching a video about repetitive lyrics?
Yeah, I was.
You're watching a video about repetitive lyrics. Okay.
I was. And it did raise a song by one of our other Antipodean friends, Miss Kylie Minogue. And I think it's the most repetitive song ever. It goes something like this. I'm going to get a copyright strike for this, but stuff it. Na, 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 na. I just can't get you out of my head.
Yes.
It's more than I care to think about. I just can't get it out of my head. I think there's more than I care to think about.
Yeah.
There's a dark secret in me. Nah, 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 nah. And that's the whole song. So human beings can write rubbish lyrics, but I still say at least add the repetition going for it. I mean, if this computer in Toronto University had written, let's decorate the room, the Christmas tree is filled with flowers, let's decorate the room, the Christmas, it would have been onto something, but it didn't even think to put repetition there. Anyway, that was my fourth point. I think we're going to get to your fifth
and final. Yes, my finale, which I'm looking down here and it's 2 words, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I really didn't plan that well. So I'm going to go over. But yes, I should be so lucky to win this debate. But I think that was the best point that you've made. I think it's deserving of maybe 3 to 4 points. So
Ricky Brown said it was out of the park and gave me 1,000 points. So no one cares what you think.
I'll give my final point, and then if we've got some time here, I've got some folks that are over on my channel have been kind enough to give me some points. So I won't use any of those just yet because that would be cheating, and I don't cheat. Well, I don't cheat much. So, I'm gonna go with something final here, and it's a fairly weak closing point here. But the whole process of music recording. So when you're thinking about AI and when you're thinking about the ability to do things and how technology has helped us grow and develop as composers. So originally, when you were creating music, you could play it live to an audience, and every instrument needed a player, and everyone had to play together, and everyone had to play perfectly together in a live environment. We then developed the ability to record music, and then suddenly we could record that whole orchestra together onto one mono track, and then we could play that back. We then developed stereo, so we could actually have a left and right spectrum. We could suddenly record a stereo field. We then had 4-track recorders. We could suddenly record 4 individual separate instruments at once, and then we could combine those all. Cassette tape was invented, and we could start actually recording and keeping that on a rewritable medium. Digital came along, and suddenly we have an infinite number of tracks that are only limited by your imagination and your computer's processing power. And now I can write a 32-track song on my mobile phone. So I ask you this: without the progress, would someone that was a purist that said only the orchestra must play their orchestra music live in the concert hall, the first time they heard that evil phonograph playing that same orchestra through those big horn things, I think that's what they have on them, then would they be going, no, this can't be done? So progress is happening, my friend. We are just on the bus, and the bus is not stopping until it reaches nirvana.
Oblivion.
Can you tell I'm a little bit delirious here? I haven't slept a whole lot the last 2 days.
All right, that was your final point.
That's my final point. Bring it on home. Come on.
Okay, I'm going to leave you with a final point. I did mention the University of Toronto. That's in Canada, isn't it?
It's somewhere there.
Somewhere. My geography is not the best. No, I know it's in Toronto. Anyway, the fella who was in charge of this department, and they developed this neural network. I say that as if I know what that means. I've got no clue what a neural network is, but he developed this neural network, and they wrote what was described in this article as the very creepy Christmas carol that this song wrote.
I think it's amazing. I'm totally doing a cover of that song.
Anyway, the particular chap in this article spoke to this professor called Hang Chu at Toronto University, and he was what he had to say himself about it. Music is not something where if you throw enough data at it, and hope that the algorithm can figure it out, that it will work. So he basically conceded himself that although it could sort of do so much, just wasn't really going to be able to create good music. And so that comes from someone with a PhD. Just saying. That's my final point. Oh my goodness!
Your final point is listen to experts all the time, and
just listen to people that know better than you.
Yeah.
So look, for the people watching, for the people on the live stream, and thanks for. I just want to say hello to Oster Allen, who arrived late, but no problem. It's good to have you here. If you don't know the format of the show, then we do sort of artificially debate in the sense that we throw a coin to see which side we will be taking. And now that we've debated the 5 points, I'll let Ricky total up the final points and determine who a winner was. But it is at this point that we are now free to speak our own opinion, our true opinion. So I'd like to throw back to my co-host, the ever handsome and knowledgeable Mr. Peter Johns, and ask him, what does he really think about this subject?
What do I really think? So most people know that I like to sit on the fence and I like to have a view somewhere in between. So I think that artificial intelligence is actually not going anywhere, and it is going to start doing some things for us. Now, what are those things? Well, they are some things. And some of the points I made here, I actually do agree with a little bit, which is that I think they can actually help. I think they can help with people learning about composition. I think that they can help people that are getting started out. And I think that they can shortcut some of the processes. I, for one, use a virtual drummer on a lot of tracks, and it's a lot easier than sitting down and hand programming everything. I don't feel that we need to do that every time. However, yes, I as a musician and as an artiste, I do believe that we do need to actually have human involvement in music, because it is a generally human emotion. But the musicians of the future, I mean, again, I made the point around the analog instruments versus automatic instruments or electronic instruments that we have these days. That was all poo-poo. The musicians of the future may well be the humans that are actually programming the machines that are making the music. So that is my opinion. And I'll throw back to you, but then I've got some opinions from some of my viewers that I wouldn't mind rounding out with here at the end. But I'm interested, Mike. Do you really believe, or do you actually think the machines should be making all the music?
No, I'm not going to sit on the fence this time. I'm like you. I can normally see both sides to an argument, but I actually agree with myself this evening. I think that there's a difference, obviously, between creating music and creating good music. And a plethora, if I might be as bold to use such a big word, a plethora of people on the planet can write music,
Yeah.
but only a small number of them can write good music. And you know, there's lots of reasons for that. And I contend that one of the reasons that some people write such bad music is because it's so generic and it's so based. I mean, we're all inspired by previous music that we've heard, but it's so based on everything they've ever heard that it just comes out as bleh, you know, and no one wants to listen to bland music. And so I think that artificial intelligence is certainly capable of creating music. I've heard some, which, as I say, I was reasonably impressed with the Ava music. However, you know, I'm not going to have it played at my funeral. That's the acid test for all music. Would you have it played at your funeral?
That is a good point, and some of my viewers agree with you. So
yeah, what do they have to say? I'm interested.
Yeah. So I've got a few here, and I know these folks watch your channel, and the ones that don't, I will re-encourage.
By the way, before you get into that, sorry to interrupt you, but I have been declared the winner. Just
so
you
have?
know.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
I think you had 1,500 and I had like minus 100 when you went into your 5th point. So I don't think I had a chance there unless you bombed badly. So
yeah, Ricky's a good fellow that he is, and I trust him because he's obviously extremely wise. He was good when he was on the show, wasn't he? He's given me 1,700 and he's given you 100.
Well, there you go. At least I got off the mark, and I even tried to compliment his football team. So there you go.
So back to what your viewers.
So Falcon Wings, one of my subscribers, had a really good point that was really long and too long to read out. But then he just said, "Artificial begets artificial." And I'm like, that's a very good point. Fried Me Fry said, "AI has no emotions." So yeah, it's talking about the emotional connection with music. We had expletive AI, which from Michael Wilson. Thanks, Mike. And Amaracia, who's on my channel a lot, said complicated. Yes, but no. Yes, AI could create literal real music, but no, it wouldn't be interesting for longer than like a month. Well, I don't know about that, Amaracia, because that Christmas Carol would be interesting to me. I'm looking that up, and look out for that on my channel. There's going to be a cover of that Christmas Carol because that was fantastic. And
I do it. I want to hear that. Release it. And here's an interesting thing I found, that you won't have much problem releasing it, or at least in America, because in the many bits of research I did in preparation for this debate, they were discussing the copyright issue with artificially intelligent created music. And in the United States, in the copyright laws, you know, there's all sorts of definitions about whether something is original or not, and whether it can be copyrighted. Okay, so an original melody and so on and so forth. But one of the criteria is it must be created by a human being. So there you go. So you can grab that AI music, and you can make $1 million from it, Pete, and no one's got anything to say about it.
Well, that is a bit harsh, and I know I did read a lot of negative comments there, but my friend Jade Starr, who's an excellent creator and does use a lot of amazing AI and uses a lot of iOS devices to create music, says, and this will be my final point about this: if it has the ability to create goosebumps, raised hair, or an emotional connection, then why not? So yes, the proof will be in the pudding, as if AR music can actually do that for us. So I think we need an A/B test. I need to create some AI composition, and we need to do AI versus human. That could be an interesting.
That would be an interesting video, wouldn't it?
Tell the difference between a robot and a person composing a song, and which would you prefer? I think we've got an idea for a future video on either of that.
We definitely do. Yeah, it's a bit scary, isn't it? And no, I think when musicians are discussing this, they've obviously, especially if they're a composer like we are, then naturally they feel threatened by this whole concept. So they're likely to argue, "Oh no, it can never do what I do. I'm special." And so we are a bit biased on the whole topic. The one thought I did have, though, is that don't be so worried about this. I don't think the community of musicians should be as concerned as they might be about this, because here's what I contend: if AI music does begin to create some really fascinating music, which is perhaps successful, it will only push human composers to get better at their craft and do things that AI might not think of. Because I do think that we are, this is an old guy talking, of course, but I do think that we are in a bit of a bland time with music on the whole. That's just my opinion. But if you know, when you listen to music that was being created, which was being sold, in say the 1970s, bands like Genesis or something like that, the musical content was absolutely incredible. And I'm sure it's around now and that people have a go at that, but it doesn't seem to be very prevalent or in the charts. Now, what I'm saying is that, well, let's leave AI to create that bland, predictable music, and humans can get back to doing what they do really well, which is really creative music. So that's my 2 cents.
I love it. And yeah, I only have one more thing to say, which is I'm diving into my cons point here because, you know, spoiler alert, Mike and I prepare alternate arguments in case the coin flip goes the other way. We don't actually rig that. So one of my con points was that music is art and art is a human endeavor. It's not just about matching colors and shapes. Okay, maybe EDM, but real music needs heart and soul. So
yeah, beautiful. Well, you should have that put on a t-shirt.
Right, I've just isolated
a big t-shirt. It's quite long, so people
a very long one, and then I'll just get punched in the face by.
Can you say it again? Can you say it again? I just want to absorb it again.
Absorb it again. So music is art and art is a human endeavor. It's not just about matching colors and shapes. Okay, maybe EDM, but real music needs heart and soul.
That's actually quite beautiful, to be honest with you. What's here happening here? See, AI could never write that.
Well, no, anyway, it would say Christmas trees are full of fruit, and it would just be like,
I think to take the show out, like we should create. I don't know what the melody was, but I'm going to try and I'm going to just ad lib here in melody. So, lots to give me a beat. Give me a bit. Lots to decorate the room. The Christmas tree is filled with flowers. I swear it's Christmas Eve. I hope that's what you say. There you go. Composition in the moment, folks. So thanks to everyone for watching this show. We've got a few minutes over. If you'd like to catch this each week, then I do need to suggest to you that you can subscribe to Pete John's channel as well as mine, because we do alternate them. And so next week it is going to be on Pete John's channel, and he will be in charge, so to speak. Have you got any idea what the topic might be yet, Pete?
I really don't. Yeah, I did mean to come up with that during the week so I could tease it here, but I'm going to tease it by saying we'll be determining that. And what you should do if you're watching on the replay or if you're watching live, after you've given it a like, if you've found this show amusing and you liked our little outro there, then yeah, leave a comment there and let us know what you would like to see us debate in a future video, because we take most of our ideas. We're very non-creative people despite the names of our channels, so we like to steal ideas from other people. So please help us, because we've got nothing.
Brilliant. And I'd love for more people to join us and join in the debate, because I will leave you with this final thought. A debate is great, but there's nothing like a mass debate. That's all I have to say.
I was about to congratulate you for a show without any double entendres or suggestive dirtiness. So yes.
What can I say? Thanks for joining us in the comments, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Okay, bye.